She was giving him some of that top, boy. That's crazy. Kawana, you nasty, man.
Cutting a hole in your pants to make it easier to have sex with an inmate and having intercourse in full view of 11 other inmates is something only a depraved mind can come up with.
What's good? Dark Knight Gang. I'm Neptune. Alright, bro, look, I got an interesting video today. This video right here is titled 5 Female Cops Getting Caught with Inmates. Yeah, man, this should be a good video. That's low-key kind of wild, man. That's crazy if you really think about that. Like, these female cops, nigga, they some hoes. You know what? Let me not even say that. The inmates are fire. The inmates are fire. If you think about that, these niggas, bro, these inmates, they really got these cops so horny, so wet that these cops were like, God damn, I need some of your dick right now. If I was locked up behind bars, but I was able to game up a cop to give me some pussy while she on the job, nigga. What? You got some game, cuz, like, yeah. Anyway, I'm ready to watch this video. This is interesting. 5 female cops getting caught with inmates. As you can tell, I'm way in the stars. I hope life is going good for you. Shout out to the gang. Let's watch this video. This should be interesting. Yeah, let's go.
When Rihanna's saying we found love in a hopeless place, she wasn't singing about jail, but these raunchy female officers didn't let that stop them.
That was a good intro.
Involving an inmate.
13 female corrections officers.
From shocking recordings to helping inmates break free.
She helped 2 convicted killers escape from a maximum security prison.
Here are 5 female officers who are down bad and can't keep their filthy hands off inmates. Disclaimer. Meet Kawana Jenkins. This corrections officer let an inmate make a video while she was doing the most shocking thing imaginable. Kawana faced 11 charges, including 5 counts of violating an oath by a public officer.
You're not gonna tell us what she was doing? She was sucking that nigga. She was giving him some of that top, boy. That's crazy. Kawana, you nasty, man.
And 1 count of giving an inmate a prohibited item. In the early hours of January 28th, 2023, correction officers with the Fulton County Jail conducted a shakedown on the maximum security wing. They seized over a dozen weapons, contraband, and 11 phones. As officers looked through the phones, they stumbled on a video of one of their own, 36-year-old Kawana Jenkins with inmate Jamal Ward. 20-year-old Jamal was awaiting trial for a 2022 murder and facing 6 other charges. In another video, Kawana was seated in a chair and filmed by an unidentified inmate. His index finger disappeared into her mouth as she simulated, well, you know what. Kawana was promptly fired and placed under arrest. The only person close to her level of nastiness is Joyce Mitchell, and you'll see what I mean soon. Number 2.
Kawana. I mean, hey, man, you know what I mean? She like that young meat. You feel me? She a little cougar. 36, going after 20-year-old. That's low-key a cougar. Little homie, that's crazy. Little homie was like, baby, I'll give you the best dick you ever had in your life. She was, Anyway, let's see this white lady right here. She looked like she was gobble, throat to everybody. You know what I mean? Look at her. She was over there. Oh, yeah, man. I'm chilling. Relax. My fault. Let's go.
Joyce Mitchell. She was leaving her husband and son to drive off to Mexico with an inmate. Joyce was charged with promoting prison contraband in the 1st degree and criminal facilitation in the 4th degree. On Saturday, June 6, 2015, correction officers in the impenetrable Clinton Correctional Facility, Danmora, New York, noticed 2 inmates, Richard Matt and David Sweat, didn't answer during the 5:30 a.m. head count. When officers checked them, they found pieces of clothing arranged under their sheets. All that they found was a cute note the men left behind. The men had cut holes in the steel walls of their cells with power tools and climbed through pipes and tunnels until they reached a broken open utility hole cover a block away, just like in the classic movie The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, that's
the prison
fire.
hadn't had an escape in 100 years, and these were dangerous men. Richard was serving 25 years to life for the 1997 kidnapping and murder of a 76-year-old businessman. The man had fired Richard. Richard retaliated by killing and dismembering him. David was no better. At 16, he'd already been charged twice for attempted 2nd-degree burglary. In 2002, he upped the stakes when he shot a sheriff's deputy 15 times and ran over his body. That got him a life sentence, and he'd been behind bars since. Both men were added to the U.S. Marshal's most wanted list. Hundreds of state and local law enforcement officers worked around the clock to get both killers back before they hurt anybody else. 3 weeks later, the manhunt ended with Richard dead.
Tactical team from Customs and Border Protection met up with Matt in the woods, challenged him, and he was shot dead.
David was captured in a hideout just a mile from the Canadian border. By then, the authorities had answered the one question on everybody's mind.
We want to find out exactly what happened.
Right.
One of the big questions is, where did the tools come from?
The day the men had made their great escape, Joyce Mitchell, an instructor in the prison's tailor shop, had checked herself into the hospital with a case of nerves. A week later, the police knew she had much to be nervous about. The 51-year-old had been very busy behind bars. She had eyes on David. She would buy him homemade food and contraband. After her shift, the two would disappear into a sewing shop storage closet for at least a half hour. Surprisingly, David wasn't the only one she was carrying on with. Joyce had a relationship with Richard Matt, sending him risque notes and nude pictures. In time, she convinced prison officials to move David to the cell next to Richard. Before the escape, Joyce snuck in some tools for the men: hacksaw blades, 2 chisels, and a punch. The 51-year-old also planned to meet them at midnight and run away together to Mexico. The officers confronted Joyce with what they knew. Her husband, who also worked at the prison, took to the news.
What? Oh, my fault. But that's crazy. Her husband worked there too. How clueless you gotta be, nigga. How her husband didn't know nothing. That's crazy. What the hell?
What they knew. Her husband, who also worked at the prison, took to the news supporting his wife.
I just couldn't believe it. Her reaction when she said they really escaped. And that's why I left it at that. And
you've known her for 21 years. You looked in her eyes. Nothing seemed unusual about her expression or her demeanor.
And when I said they want to talk to us, because we know them or to help out.
Later on, she changed her story.
Is he a little slow?
You need to know that
Let me stop.
I was only trying to save my family.
Joyce claimed the men had threatened to kill her husband if she didn't help, but the police already knew she was lying. Joyce pleaded guilty. If this seems like the dumbest officer ever, trust me, it gets worse. Her replacement was stupid enough to fall for the exact same trick. Number 3.
That's crazy though. That woman, Joyce. So she started messing around with both of them. Dangerous dudes too. That's crazy. And then they came up with a plan. She moved them all together in the same cell. They probably was like, yeah, we both dicking her down. I bet you this is what happened. They both were dicking her down, right? And they didn't know at first. And then maybe they just talked about it. And they were like, what? You fucking her too? Yeah, me too. Like, oh, maybe we could use her to get out of here. And they probably started, plotting and planning. And then they just completely used her. Women, bro. Women. You get their emotions. Logic is out the window. Let's keep going.
Number 3, Denise Brell. If the inmates at Clinton Correctional Facility thought Cupid was done with them, they were in for a big surprise. Denise was facing 25 charges, including promoting prison contraband, abuse in the 3rd degree, and 23 counts of official misconduct. In September 2015, just 3 months after Joyce Mitchell helped convicted murderers Richard Matt and David Sweat break out of the maximum security state prison, 39-year-old Denise Brell was hired to replace Joyce as the new training supervisor. Joyce was already serving a 7-year sentence behind bars, and the prison hoped the notoriety she brought to the facility was behind them. But they were wrong. In September 2017, the prison was in the news with yet another love affair in the tailor shop. The prison authorities had discovered Denise was having a relationship with a former inmate, Paul Norris. Paul was serving a 20-year sentence for first-degree manslaughter. He'd been transferred to the prison in May. When they questioned the mother of 2, Denise Brell, she admitted everything. Like Joyce, the two met at the tailor shop, and sparks had flown. By the following month, they were writing letters and cards to each other using the moniker Gwen Freeman. Gwendolyn was Denise's middle name, and Freeman, well, you can guess why they came up with that.
Call him by the name Gwen Freeman. He says she called him that because her middle name was Gwendolyn, and Freeman was in reference to him someday becoming a free man.
Denise even got him a prepaid phone and P.O. box to talk with him when she was off work. Every other week, she gave him cash and even settled a debt he had with another inmate. When Paul was transferred to Elmira Correctional Facility, Denise had visited him, and the two had held hands and kissed. The lovebirds planned to reunite when Paul was freed in 20 years. Denise was soon relieved of her job. A week later, she was behind bars in the same prison she worked in, awaiting to be arraigned. Denise pled not guilty to all the charges against her and turned down plea deals, choosing to go to court. Fast forward to a year later, a visibly nervous Denise was in a Clinton County courtroom, tearfully pleading guilty to all charges.
Ms. Brell, your criminality in this matter, which you've pled guilty to, is difficult, if not nearly impossible to understand in light of what this community went through.
By then, Denise and her husband had divorced, and he had custody of the kids.
Well, yeah.
Denise claimed the affair didn't ruin her marriage, but she's not holding a torch for Paul either. But this next officer just ran out of
That
luck,
wasn't too
and her
crazy.
secret affair is about to be exposed in the most humiliating way imaginable. This is Charlene Ong.
That last one, that's not too crazy. I mean, she completely ruined her marriage with 2 kids over it. Now, that's a little insane. Over a prisoner, over an inmate. That's kind of crazy. She had a husband and 2 kids. But hey, you know, like I said, you get a woman's heart, it's a wrap.
When she got to work that morning, she had no idea the entire prison knew the nasty things that she'd gotten up to. Charlene was charged with improper activity with a person in custody. Correction officers at the Conroe Montgomery County Jail facility in Texas received a tip that a female correction officer, 33-year-old Charlene Ong, had been intimate with an inmate in custody. After secretly recording her phone calls, detectives discovered that the object of her affection was 28-year-old Jacob Parker. Jacob was behind bars for possession of a firearm and resisting arrest. He also had an open warrant for theft. On December 17th, 2021, the detectives confronted Charlene about her relationship with Jacob.
We were notified of a possible improper relationship between you and Jacob Parker. So we're here for that. I just kind of want to talk to you about it and get your side of that story. Do you know who I'm talking about?
He's in Pod 6.
Okay.
Charlene appeared shocked. The detective asked if she'd talked to him on any calls. Again, Charlene vehemently denied it.
Have you talked to him on any jail phone calls or anything like that? Not at all? Okay.
When asked where Jacob's cell block was, she squinted like it was some vague memory.
And where is Jacob with custody?
You think she gonna just give it up? Don't be stupid.
She quickly made up a rambling story that involved another prisoner.
And where would you think that, like, this allegation would come from if there's nothing to it?
Well, I had a feeling this was coming. So there was an inmate named Coker, Justin Coker, and he got out of here for I don't know what period of time, and he tried to contact me on Facebook, and he sent me a message, and I blocked him on Facebook, and I guess one time Parker was going back to to use the bathroom, and he was talking like at the window with me. Like at Equal, he was talking through the window, and I guess Coker like didn't like that, which I had no contact with him or anything. And I don't know why, like he went up to, I don't know what was said between them, but he went up to Parker and said something, and then Parker ended up going back to laundry.
The detective indulged her, even asking her when it happened, all the while knowing he was setting her up for a trap.
Okay. When do you think that happened? Okay. Is Coker back in jail? Or?
He came back, but I think he left. I don't know if he like got released or he's in TBC now or something like that.
The detective revealed that they had phone call recordings and gave her one more chance to admit the affair.
So I don't know exactly how it started, like who it started from. But I was told that it was brought to somebody's attention, and then we looked at jail calls. And there was jail calls between you and Parker. All that stuff's recorded. So I don't think you're being completely truthful. Well, I kind of know that you're not. And I'm not trying to be rude when I say that.
Yeah. No.
I'm just kind of trying to lay it out on the table for you. You kind of get one shot at this of being truthful, and people, perception means a lot in criminal cases and internal cases. It's a huge deal. It sways people to do a myriad of different things, you know, and this is kind of your chance to paint your own image.
Seeing the writing on the wall, Charlene changed her story. After almost an hour of making up stories, Charlene finally admitted that she and Jacob had gotten down and dirty.
I wonder what happens. Like, do they lose their license too? I don't know. I wonder. Let me know down in the comments if you know.
Fired from the county jail and charged. She pleaded guilty and has been sentenced to 100 days in jail.
Oh, well,
this
duh.
was not the last time an officer got down and dirty with an inmate. Our next officer even put on a show for the other inmates. Lastly, we have Tina Gonzalez.
Tina
She thought it would be a
good.
great idea to make love in front of other inmates. Tina was charged with carnal activity with an inmate, possession of a controlled substance in a jail, and possession of a cell phone with intent to deliver it to an inmate. In December 2019, officers with the Fresno County Jail received a tip that an inmate with a cell phone was also in a relationship with 26-year-old Officer Tina Gonzalez. Tina began working as a corrections officer in 2016. A search of the inmate's cell turned up the phone. Tina was questioned about the torrid jailhouse affair and denied it, but a few weeks later, she resigned. If Tina thought that was the end, she was in for a surprise. The sheriff's office opened up an investigation into Tina and quickly uncovered evidence to support the allegations. In May of 2020, Tina was arrested and charged. Tina pleaded guilty to all the charges against her. At her sentencing, her defense attorney spoke on her behalf, blaming the end of her marriage for her actions. But the assistant sheriff took the stand and gave even more details about her revolting actions while she worked as a corrections officer.
Cutting a hole in your pants to make it easier to have sex with an inmate, and having intercourse in full view of 11 other inmates is something only a depraved mind can come up with.
Yep, you heard that right. Tina would cut a hole in her uniform and have intercourse in clear view of all the other prisoners. As disgusting as that sounds, that was...
Nigga, shut up. What you talking about? As disgusting. Tina nasty.
was not the worst of it. Tina even told the inmate about searches and gave him razors.
Times communicated sensitive information
Tina, ride or die.
that were entering the inmate's pod, as well as times and places or times when the pod would be searched.
If officers were hoping for any signs of remorse from her, they had another thing coming. Even after she was caught, Tina continued to call the inmate and boast about what she had done. They hoped the judge would give her the maximum sentence of 3 years, but though the judge had harsh words for Tina,
I think what you did was terrible, stupid. You ruined your career. You endangered your fellow officers. But I also believe that people can redeem themselves. You got the rest of your life to prove that.
he sentenced her to 7 months behind bars and 2 years probation. This former corrections officer will serve her sentence at the jail she once guarded.
All right, bro, that was a great video. I gave my reaction throughout, like always. Let me know what you guys thought about, you know, all the different ones down in the comments. That last one, Tina, I mean, just like all the other ones, they just fall for the inmates and try to break them free and give them things. It's just like I said, the inmates, they fire for that. Like, if I was an inmate, nigga, I wish I was that good in order to convince one of the corrections officer, like, yeah, baby, I love you. Get me out of here, bitch. Like, you see what I'm saying? I wish I can convince one of the female inmates like that. I mean, one of the female corrections officers. They fire for that. You can't do that. You go get locked up, and then let me see you game up a corrections officer to break you out. Yeah, right. You can't do that. I for sure can't do that. I don't know what I would do. I would just have to take it out and start swinging it at her. Ah! Nah, let me stop playing. Anyway, this was a great video. I enjoyed it, clearly. I'm going to see you guys next time. Shout out to the motherfucking gang, nigga. Yeah. I'm chilling. Leave me alone. See y'all next time. Peace.
I know you want me. You said you're lonely. You can't get none of me. Smoking the gas now. Feel like a star, yeah. She wanna get rich. Proud of New York, yeah. My heart is so froze now.